personally have stopped using the term stress management. It's like the biggest delusion to me. There's no way to get your arms around the volume of stress there is in today's world. In good clinical practice, we look for patterns.
Welcome to Siva Science and Soul, where we talk about brain science, longevity, food as medicine, and the art of living well.
Hello, good people. It's Angel. I want to get this out to you like right now because this is like top of mind, and it happened in clinic, and I want to share this with you because I think it's so really important. I have a longtime patient who has said to me in no uncertain terms, got to do something about my stress. And I said, tell me what you're thinking, what you're experiencing. And so the person was identifying just clinical symptoms like just not being able to sleep at night, clenching their jaw, and then difficulty maintaining sleep. All those classic symptoms of stress that is just out of control. We started talking about that. We're looking at some lab values and things like this. And I can clearly see from just basic measurements of blood pressure, heart rate, all these things that the person is experiencing what they're saying they're experiencing. So I said, tell me what you mean when you say I've got to get it under control. The person was asking for a referral for stress management, stress management classes and whatnot. And in that moment, I said, I want to know if you've read my recent newsletter, because all of my patients are signed up for the newsletter when they become a patient, and my coaching clients as well. And they said, yeah, in fact, I read the recent newsletter, and that's what got me thinking the next time I'm in the office, I want to talk about this and get like a referral, So I pulled out the HPA Ally, and we went through the stress scoring tool, which I'll share with you in a minute, and the person's score was just off the chart. And I said, you know what? I think I have the perfect solution for you. Well, the perfect solution is something that I use myself, and I want to introduce that to you in case you are not subscribed to the newsletter, in case you're new to my channel. I just want to share with you something that I use, but I also want to put this in proper perspective. First and foremost, how we define stress management. For years in the clinical setting, we would refer people to stress management classes and stress management workshops. And there's all these things about stress management. And I personally have stopped using the term stress management. And here's why. There are more things in life that we can't control than there are things we can control. And I firmly believe that. There's traffic, there are bills, there's your children, your aging parents. So life is only becoming more complex. And I think when we tell ourselves that we are going to manage our stress, it's like the biggest delusion to me, because there's no way to get your arms around the volume of stress there is in today's world. Manage suggests that you have an ability to control. You have an ability to predict your stress. That's what manage basically means, right? So I've begun sharing with my patients and my clients and my retreat guests as well, is that one of the things we're going to have to do is shift away from this term or terminology of stress management and start moving into something that's called emotional regulation, stress response. Viktor Frankl is one of my favorite authors because what he says, and the famous quote is, there is a space between stimulus and response. One of the things we do in emotional regulation work is really understanding that there is a space between stimulus and response. Reducing stress is really not about reducing the stress itself, but about changing the way we respond to stress. That's what we aim to manage in my practice and in my work with clients, specifically my SIVA VIP clients. At the SIVA Institute, everything we aim to do is focused on developing more resilience, more heart coherence, an ability to recognize that there is a space between stimulus and response. And in that space, that is what we aim to mold and shape and manage. Okay. So for this particular patient, I said I had a perfect tool for you to work with. But before we even do that, I want to take you through just a little bit of an assessment to understand. So that's where this HPA Ally guide comes in. Here's the assessment that we went through. It's the PSS-10 score. It's developed by Dr. Sheldon Cohen at Carnegie Mellon University, widely used in the clinical research setting, and it measures your perception of stress over the past month, not just individual events that feel overwhelming or uncontrollable. So for example, if you're driving down the road, all of a sudden someone cuts you off, or you get to the bank and the bank is closed, and then you go to the post office and the line is long, and I ask you, how stressed are you? Oh my God, I'm so stressed. And then I say, well, give me a 0 to 10, how stressed are you? In that moment, you're likely to say your stress level is a 10. That's the mistake many people make in the clinical setting, is that they're measuring stress off of one-time events or, isolated events that happen closer to the clinical appointment, like something that just happened yesterday or something that just happened 2 days ago. What I love about the PSS-10 is that it gets the patient or client to identify their stress level over a period of time. In good clinical practice, we look for patterns. We honestly look for patterns. We don't like to make decisions based on one-time events or one-time feelings or one-time anything, right? So the PSS-10 asks, in the last month, how often have you been upset because of something that happened unexpectedly? Here's another question. How often have you felt that you were unable to control the important things in your life? How often have you felt confident about your ability to handle your personal problems? And it goes on from there and it gives you a score. When the patient and client fills this out and I see what that score is, I go on to talk about something that I identify all the time in every newsletter, which is HRV, heart rate variability. Now, heart rate variability scores are one of the leading biomarkers in neuroscience research right now. And it has been for years. Cardiovascular research work, neuroscience research. It is a very, very important biomarker. And what we found over the years in clinical research settings is that individuals who have a higher HRV score tend to be more stress resilient, tend to be able to manage their stressors a little bit better. They tend to be able to emotionally regulate a little bit better. We've found depression to be improved with higher HRV scores, anxiety to be more improved with higher HRV scores. People tend to sleep better with higher HRV scores. And in a nutshell, it really is just variability between beats, heartbeats. And that's what we want to see. We want to see that your system is able to adapt to stress. So we like to see that good variability because it tells us that in an emergency setting, your body's able to be more resilient and adapt to a stressor to get going, get that sympathetic nervous system response going. But also when the stress is gone, that parasympathetic relaxation is able to happen. So how do you measure that? There are lots of devices on the market these days to do it. Some of the Fitbit watches, the Garmins, the Fitbits and things like that measure them. But one of the main tools that I use in my clinical setting is something called HeartMath. I've done a video on this before and I'm going to do a video again because I 100% believe with my heart of hearts, with my whole heart of hearts, that we need more tools. We need more measurable tools to work with on the day-to-day that give us real-time data. And when I say real-time data, I mean real numbers, real data. We need to be able to see that, yes, this is working, and proof that this is working because my score is higher. Proof that this is working because I'm doing it more. I'm consistent. Proof that this is working because I am sleeping better. Proof because I've got a better HRV score. So HeartMath is a tool that I use in my clinical practice a lot for those who self-identify with high PSS-10 scores. And I use this in my personal life. I'm just going to be honest with you. And this is not scripted. This is a live YouTube. So I'm going to tell you straight up and straight out, I use HeartMath. And I swear by HeartMath. It's been around for over 25 years. It has been studied worldwide for a very long time and found to be very effective because it focuses on developing greater heart coherence, higher HRV scores, and it's a very usable tool. And the thing about it is that I love about HeartMath too is that it's so portable. It's so portable. It's a very small little device. The app is on your phone, and the tools that you have when you purchase the device and you download your app are yours forever. There's not a monthly subscription or anything like that. And the things that you learn are yours forever. It's not like, something that you pay for and then 2 years later, all of the PDFs or all the videos and things like that are gone. Like, this is your knowledge forever, and it's repeatable learning, right? So you're never going to be finished with it, right? You're never going to say, oh, I already did that module. I already know that, because life is happening. So something that you learned today, you may feel like you've got it down pat, but then maybe you have a death in the family. Maybe there's something change in your job. Maybe your children are launching and they're getting, going off to college, and now you're feeling your heart just starting to pitter patter even more. Here you go back through this module again. I had a session this morning with a patient, and I'm just so happy about, first of all, the person's willingness to invest in themselves in this way and to spend the time to learn and to start working on developing these skills. And what we talked about repeatedly was that we're not talking about that long list of things that they gave me that causes stress in their life. We're talking about their response to the stress. That's what we are looking to change and to improve. Number one, how do I respond? How do I feel? And how does it impact my life? And then number four, how does it impact my health and well-being? That's what we focus on. When you shift the focus to those questions, it makes it something that feels doable in your mind, because all the other things don't feel doable, right? If you've talked to Mary a million times, if you've reminded Peter a million times, if you've left the house early a million times and leaving early didn't work, then now it comes down to, how do I respond? All right. How do I change the way I respond? So if any of those things happen, I'm still good to go, because it's not going to make me fall over the deep edge just because someone cut me off in traffic. It's not going to send me over the deep edge just because Peter did what he did, or Sally did what she did, or Susan said what she said. So the beautiful thing about this as a practice is that it is a practice. It's lifelong learning of emotional regulation and emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence and emotional regulation go hand in hand. It's one thing to be intelligent and informed about your emotions, but it's another thing to be able to regulate them. And if you haven't heard me speak about emotional regulation, I want you to check the channel, go back to an interview I did with a friend of mine, Loretta Turner, who speaks about her work with emotional regulation and how she weaves that into her professional work as well as in her personal life. So go back in the videos and have a look-see at the episode that I did a while back, probably like last year, with Loretta Turner. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that with you today. I'm going to leave the link to HeartMath so you can learn more about it. I do private HeartMath coaching, if you will, with individuals who are interested in incorporating this as a tool in their life. You can be anywhere in the world. We can work together virtually because there are lots of different skills. I am a certified HeartMath coach. I've gone through all of the trainings myself, and I actively use HeartMath in my personal life. So here's what I want you to do. Number one thing I want you to do is get the newsletter. Join SivaLiving.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Those of you who subscribe to my newsletter, Siva Living Brain First, that comes out every other Wednesday, know that I've been talking a lot about brain health, and I've been talking a lot about stress management and stress reduction and understanding something that's really important, and that is the HPA axis. In fact, I just recently wrote the HPA Ally. It's a clinical guide to the stress-brain connection. And in this guide, I go deep into the HPA axis, cortisol dysregulation, burnout biology. There's a lab guide, and there's also my recovery framework. So this was in my newsletter, I think 2 issues ago. This is a free guide for subscribers that you can download and sort of get an understanding of what burnout looks like at a clinical level, and then get a framework for understanding how burnout gets worked up in the clinical setting, like what lab markers we look for, what biomarkers we identify, and what we do with that information. There's also a very handy tool for measuring your own stress and understanding some of the key signs and symptoms of when you might be burned out or close to burnout. So this is a wonderful guide. I'm really, really proud of this. Number 2, if you are interested in learning anything about HeartMath, click on the link in the show notes that I'm going to put at the bottom so that you can understand what I'm talking about with heart rate variability scores, how it pertains to health and well-being, specifically cardiovascular health and well-being, as well as neurological health and well-being. So that's number 2. Number 3, if you want to talk with me offline, once you've done those things and say, Angel, this is something I'm really interested in, use the calendar link in the show notes and show description, because I have specific dates on my calendar monthly for these kinds of conversations. No obligation whatsoever. You're not going to get enrolled in any programs or anything like that. It's just an opportunity to talk with me one-on-one about what you're currently experiencing and how HeartMath or any other thing that I talk about can be beneficial. Okay, so those 3 things. And number four, I know you can guess what this is. Click that subscribe button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'm sure you're subscribed to a lot of other things, and you'll say, Angel, I'm already subscribed to a lot of other things. The question I have for you is, are the current things that you're subscribed to improving your life? Are they making your life better? Some things come around again, and some things never do. So you never want to miss those critical opportunities to get important information that can change your life for the better. And I truly believe that Siva Science and Soul, the podcast, and the work that we're doing here at the Siva Institute is in that category of things that are here to help you make your life better, to help you live longer, to help you live better. Siva Science and Soul is where longevity meets lifestyle and science meets soul. Last but not least, be on the lookout for the newsletter tomorrow. I'm talking about food as medicine and everything you need to be incorporating into your life this summer for good brain health. Good brain health and longevity. Share this video with a friend, okay? Don't forget to click like and subscribe to make sure that you never miss an episode. Be well, be good to yourself, and never, ever, ever, ever be afraid to be amazing. Take good care. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to Siva Science and Soul. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Before you go, make sure to click that subscribe button and be sure to join us in my free community at joinsivaliving.com. That's joinsivaliving.com. Take good care, be well, and be good to yourself.